Mr. Hans, welcome to Rudao.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. The current projects that Netherlands have in Iraq, I know that you focus very much on climate change, agriculture, and this is one of the sectors that your country really focuses on in Iraq. Currently, what do you do?
Well, indeed, we focus, amongst others, on those topics, but our cooperation is much further. It deals with security, migration, etc. But when we talk about the economic domain, the focus is primarily on making Iraq less dependent on oil, so focus on the diversification of the economy. And we do that, amongst others, by focusing on private sector development.
And how what's the main obstacle that you have and the challenges in this goal in Iraq?
Well, the challenge for Iraq as a whole, I think it's fair to say that it is far too dependent on the oil revenues. You know that better than I do, but more than 90% of the budget in Iraq, public budget, depends on oil income. So Iraq, for the future, really has to diversify its economy. The Netherlands and other like-minded countries are helping, assisting Iraq in doing that. But in all honesty, indeed, there are quite some challenges still to deal with. There's the challenge of Iraq itself, but it has an impact on countries like the Netherlands. For instance, there is still a lot of red tape, bureaucracy, not enough transparency. The banking sector is still quite weak. Also, the public infrastructure is at a level that could be improved. And again, the government, both in the Kurdish region and in Baghdad, makes a lot of progress. There is a lot of progress. I'm a witness of that myself. But still, a lot more can be done. And the Netherlands, for instance, can help Iraq by developing its economy, by making it more sustainable, and by speeding up the diversification process.
Regarding climate change, Iraq is one of the top 5 countries affected by climate change. How do you support the Iraqi government in this term?
We do that, amongst others, by business-to-business cooperation. For instance, in the field of agriculture, we focus very much, when it comes to Iraq, on reducing the uses of water management. And we have specific technologies for that, drip technology, which reduces with 80 or more percent the use of water. For instance, in the field of agriculture, we also focus on, let's say, on having more climate resilient seeds and crop production. That also helps a lot. But also, when it comes to our projects and programs, for instance, we have a Shiraka program that focuses on transfer of knowledge by means of academia, but also by means of specific training programs for Iraqi students, Iraqi entrepreneurs. And another topic that we do is private sector development. We do that via, for instance, our Orange Corner program, focusing on helping new Iraqi startups and scale-ups. And what we also created recently is an Orange Corner Innovation Fund, where we make the link of financing the gap that is existing between the startups and the scale-ups. That is, for instance, what we do in that field, but there are many other possibilities for cooperation and many other fields that we already do. Academia, I mentioned that. While the Netherlands is well known for agriculture, we have top-notch academic hubs, Wageningen, which attracts a lot of students, and there is a cooperation between Wageningen and Iraq. Also IHA Delft, which is really a top-level water management institute in the Netherlands, worldwide renowned. This has already a cooperation with Iraq. So these are the kind of things that we can do in order to help Iraq, including of course Kurdistan, further diversify its economy and making that economy more, how should I say, climate sustainable.
Considering security and migration, I know it's somehow, especially the migration, this is an EU approach with Iraq, and I'm aware of, but something about security, Syria is a whole concern for the whole world. How do you work with the Iraqi government regarding that, or is that a concern for Netherlands in general?
Well, what we do, of course, we watch for the developments in Syria closely. It's good, of course, for the Netherlands also to stay in contact with Iraq. Iraq being a direct neighbor of Syria. And again, it's in the interest of Iraq and in the Netherlands, but of course also in the interest of Syria, that the region remains stable, prosperous, and also for the future sustainable. When it comes specifically to Iraq, of course, we are still an active member in the anti-Daesh coalition. But as you probably know, the Netherlands also taking the lead at the moment. Technically, we call it the commandership of the NATO mission in Iraq. So we help Iraq and the Iraq security forces directly by participating in the anti-Daesh coalition. And it's still a challenge, of course, but we also, in terms of security sector reform, we support and assist the Iraqi military, but not only the Iraqi military, also the Iraqi police.
Mr. Sandee, thank you very much. Welcome to Rudao again.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.